Chapter 422, Fighting Alone. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. Under the attack of 46 students, the Evil Wood Palace, one of the 5 masters' holy places, disappeared overnight. The indigenous masters in the palace were either dead or heavily injured. This war allowed the majority of students to accumulate over 100 military points. Of course, there were also 2 students who were seriously injured and died under the counterattack of the indigenous master. Their hopes and dreams would forever remain in the Evil Wood Palace. In the battlefield of primitive world, casualties were inevitable. If it wasn't for Jang Rukan, who broke the holy array and killed the 3 master of the Evil Wood Palace, with only the power of the 46 students, they would have been completely annihilated. It was a very low death rate where only 2 genius students had fallen. After the large battle, the Evil Wood Palace was completely destroyed. Even Huang Yanjun and Si Xingkong, who had high cultivation, suffered some minor injuries. Although there were many injured students, they also got to acquire of treasures. The treasures of the Evil Wood Palace, which had been accumulated for thousands of years, were seized by the students. Everyone had a huge harvest. Among them, Shang Kiki even found a half-saint stave that the students tried to fight each other for. Fortunately, Zhang Yuochen walked out of the underground palace in time to quiet down the students who were going to snatch it by force. After all, those students cared more about their personal interests. Treasures like the half-cent were enough for them to snatch desperately. However, since Zhang Yuochen came forward, even if they wanted to get the half-saint stave, they would have to back off. Who dared to provoke the king of the new generation? This stave is made out of purple cloud earwood, and there is also supernatural power of half-cent left in the stave. Before using the stave, if you infuse it with genuine chi, it will have great power. Although it would not as powerful as a holy weapon, it is comparable to an genuine martial arms of 11th level. Zhang Yuochen nodded his head and said. Then he returned the half-saint stave to Chang Kiki. That stave was most likely an item of the Patriarch of the Evil Wood Palace. However, because a long time had passed, the saint power in the stave was lost. Otherwise, it was definitely a treasure close to the holy weapon, close to the genuine martial arms of 11th level. I'm going to make a fortune. Chang Kiki hugged the stave tightly with excitement as if he was holding his own lifeblood. It is important to know that Zhang Yuochen spent 370 pieces of spiritual crystal to purchase a violet thunder sword, which was genuine martial arms of 10th level. If the power of this half-saint stave was comparable to the genuine martial arms of 11th level, how much would it be worth? At least, with Zhang Lingjun's current stash spiritual crystals, he couldn't afford an genuine martial arms of 11th level. Of course, Zhang Yuochen had more precious things than the genuine martial arms of 11th level, such as the golden Ganoderma, black glazed spinel, and the purple cloud patterned eaglewood. Just selling one of them would make him rich overnight. Si Xingkong also received some precious treasures, but he was neither happy nor sad. He looked rather dignified and said, the most powerful person in the Evil Wood Palace is the Master Shenhai. Once he finds out, he will surely return with his fastest speed. With the cultivation of Master Shenhai, he can kill all of us himself. Zhang Yuochen, we need to leave now. Huang Yanchen said, can't we deal with the Master Shenhai if all of us came together to use the combined attack? Zhang Yuochen shook his head and said, it will be very difficult. The cultivation of Master Shenhai should be the second change of the dragon's and fish's skin refining to gold. Its own defensive power is terrifyingly strong, and it's like a practiced golden body that couldn't be broken. Even if the combined attack can defeat him, he can simply just evade it. Furthermore, the combined attack consumes a lot of genuine chi and cannot be sustained at all. Once the combined attack was weakened, then we could be defeated by him and all die here. Although Zhang Yuochen could pose a certain threat to the Master Shenhai, and he could even work with the monster ape, he had to think about the worst scenario. Si Xingkong nodded and said, also, I suspect that Master Shenhai may have practiced the treasured body of wood. In that case, we would have no chance. Zhang Yuochen said, elder brother, you lead the students here out first. I'll stay here and hold him off. Just you? No, I will help you. I have the holy sword, and maybe I can break the defensive deity of the Master Shenhai. Huang Yanchen said with her beautiful eyes like two blue cold stars, contains a firm will. Zhang Yuochen shook his head and said, I'll have to borrow that holy sword for the time being. However, you have to leave. Even if I am not the opponent of the Master Shenhai, I'm sure that I will be able to escape. Huang Yanchen finally agreed as she removed the white jade hairpin from her head, and gave it to Zhang Yuochen. The holy sword was precious enough to make a half-saint fight for it, but she did not hesitate to lend it to Zhang Yuochen. There was no trace of suspicion in her heart. Huang Yanchen and Sik Singkong left with the crowd. Zhang Ruochen was left all alone in the dark splitting mountain. As a holy land for the 5 masters, the Evil Wood Palace was once full of many master. Every year, countless people came to study and learn. Now all the life and progress in the palace had been destroyed, and it was extremely lonely. Zhang Yuochen walked in the mountains and unknowingly walked to the position of Array Eye of Holy Array. The Array Eye was torn by sword breath, and there was a giant sword crack of more than 20 meters on the ground that cut off the 4 main inscription of Array of the Holy Array. Zhang Yuochen sighed, if Blackie were here, with its knowledge in array formations, it would be possible to restore 4 inscription of Array and run the Holy Array again. With the power of the Holy Array, it would be easy to deal with Master Shenhai. Since Blackie was not there, he could only do it himself. Zhang Yuochen began to recall some of the Array books that he had seen before and tried to repair the 4 inscription of Array of the Holy Array. Although Zhang Yuochen did not study the inscription of Array, he was a master of spiritual power. In terms of inscription, he was also considered to have certain achievements. As soon as he touched the Holy Array, Zhang Yuochen discovered that the half-saint man who arranged the array did not have a clever way to burn the encryption. His spiritual power should not have reached the 40th level. The main reason that the power of the Holy Array was so powerful was because the holy power in the half-saint system had played a key role. Of course, Zhang Yuochen was not an array master, so it was still very difficult to repair the etched pattern. After 3 consecutive attempts, he failed. Instead, the 3 sacred lines were completely destroyed. Hard work paid off. Zhang Yuochen finally succeeded in repairing the 4th inscription of Array of the 4th. Zhang Yuochen stood up and wiped the sweat off his forehead. He smiled and said, I've finally repaired a Holy Array pattern, and it should allow 1 corner of the Saint Array to work. Zhang Yuochen pressed his palm at the position of the Array Eye and injected genuine qi into it. 1 corner of the array showed the inscription of Array and it resumed operation, covering only the hillside about 1/10 of the size of the entire array. Moreover, the power of this corner Holy Array had fallen a lot. It's probably only 1/10 of the power of the Holy Array. It should be enough to kill the Master Shenhai. The key is now to lure Master Shenhai into that corner of the Holy Array. Zhang Yuochen held his chin and looked thoughtful. Ow! Suddenly, there was a long and wheezing noise from underground. The monster ape broke through the second change in the fish-dragon realm. It passed through the stone layer, broke through the earth, flew over across the sky, and landed on the ground, creating a huge pit. After it broke through the realm, the aura of Monster Ape had changed dramatically, and he was even a meter taller than before. Each hair on the ape's body was like a needle forged out of steel. It showed off its strength. It lifted a hard stone that weighed a few ton from the ground, opened his big mouth with its sharp teeth, and shattered the boulder before swallowing it as if it was a piece of tofu. Even stones could be digested. How powerful is its body now? Amazing. Zhang Yuochen beckoned to the monster ape. Boom! The monster ape immediately leapt and landed in front of Zhang Yuochen. He bent his back and saluted Zhang Yuochen. Zhang Yuochen looked at the monster ape up close and nodded. From the storage ring, he took out a piece of purple cloud patterned eaglewood weighted 5 kilograms and threw it to the monster ape. The monster ape caught the purple cloud patterned eaglewood in his mouth, swallowed it, and began to be refined. Zhang Yuochen said, I don't expect you to practice into a treasured bodies of double spirits. However, the more powerful you are, the more help you will be to me. The monster ape was motionless and began to refine the purple cloud patterned eaglewood. Every kilo of refining is equivalent to the achievement of 1 year's practice. The ape's strength could be enhanced by a great deal after this. It could be said that the power of monster ape was increasing rapidly every moment. Zhang Yuochen stood on the edge of a cliff in the dark splitting mountain and looked at the red sun rising on the sky. He said to himself, Master Shenhai should be back soon. At this time, Master Shinhai and the Ni Wenlong were indeed on the way back to the Evil Wood Palace. They were all great masters, and their top speed was twice the speed of sound. Even though Ni Wenlong did not reach the Fish Dragon realm, he was highly talented. The strength alone was enough to compete with the top 1,000 masters of the Heaven Board rankings. That bastard, Zhang Yuozhen, dares to play around with me. If I see him, I will make him pay for what he has done. The old face of the Master Shinhai was distorted and his eyes were full of fierce lights. Ni Wenlong said, if his actions are slower, maybe we can meet him when we rush back to the Evil Wood Palace. What did you say? With that guy's strength, even if he dare to attack the Evil Wood Palace, he can't even pass the Holy Array. The Evil Wood Palace has the Master Mashing. It should be absolutely safe. In fact, Master Shinhai was also very worried, but now he could only think positively. After all, there was the defense of the Holy Array. Zhang Yuozhen could not attack even if he had superhuman powers. Ni Wenlong frowned and said, I hope so. After half an hour, the Master Shinhai and Ni Wenlong finally reached the foot of the dark splitting mountain. With a glance at the top of the mountain, their hearts sank to the bottom of the valley. The entire Evil Wood Palace, the Millennium Foundation, had been turned into ruins. The palace was still in flames, and rays of black smoke permeated the air, filling it with a sultry taste.